So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us here today in the room and those that are online. My name is Ed Hassinger. I'm the director of the Missouri Department of Transportation. And we wanted to really get everybody together to give you a briefing on this significant winter weather event that's going to arrive in Missouri over the weekend. So to kind of level set, to get everybody kind of the equal playing field, we are really honored here to have Melissa Delia with the National Weather Service. I'm going to ask her to come up and kind of give you where the forecast stands as of today. And then those of us on the operations side will tell you what we're going to be doing over the weekend. And then we'll take questions after that. So Melissa, if you could tell us where we're at.
Thank you. So we are expecting a major winter storm with significant snowfall and dangerous temperatures to impact the region starting late Friday and continuing on into Sunday. And we're expecting the heaviest snowfall and greatest impacts to occur in southern Missouri, south of I-70. This precipitation is going to fall in 2 rounds, with the first round starting late Friday night into early Saturday morning and continuing into Saturday evening. And this is when we are going to see sleet falling across far southern Missouri along the Arkansas border and into the Boot Heel. That sleet across that area will transition to all snow, and the remainder of the event will be snow across the entire state. The second round of precipitation of snowfall will occur early Sunday morning and continuing through Sunday evening. Now, we have high confidence that we are going to see significant impacts to life across southern Missouri, south of I-70, but our uncertainty lies in how far north those impacts are going to extend above the I-70 corridor. Despite this, dangerous cold is certain with this event before, during, and after snow occurs. And that will make folks who are outside unsafe if they are not properly sheltered. These cold temperatures are going to linger into next week as well. And I'll turn it back.
Thank you, Melissa. I think you can see from that forecast that it's pretty clear that we're going to have a significant event, heavy snow, extremely bitter cold temperatures. And so with that, yesterday, as we got that forecast, we started mobilizing our team, started the winter weather planning events on Wednesday, and we've continued that throughout the day today, and we'll be fine-tuning that over the next 24 hours. So as we think about this, it's going to impact a majority of the population of the state of Missouri, fairly significant impacts across the state. And I want you all to know that as the precipitation starts to fall, our team is going to be fully deployed across the state. 3,000 folks working 2 shifts a day until this is back to near normal conditions across the state. So kind of the message that we really want to send is you have some time, right? It doesn't start until sometime on Friday afternoon or into the evening. You have time to prepare. So we're asking the public to help us as we try to do our job to make sure you're prepared, really get off the road if you can. If you don't have to travel, there's really no reason to do so. And then give our team the ability and the room to work so that we can get the roads clear. I also want to reiterate to everybody that how we approach a storm is we work on major roads first. So those big roads that carry the most traffic, we work on those until we get them to near normal conditions, and then we move to our secondary system and make sure that they're passable. And we keep on that until we accomplish the goal of free travel on our major roads and that all of our minor roads are passable. So with this storm event, with the amount of snow and the extremely cold temperatures, which remember most of our chemicals don't work once we get down below 10 degrees, it's going to take a while. It's going to take us a little longer to get those major roads open, and then certainly by the time we get to our secondary roads, we'll keep working on those. But we're going to need people to experience some patience here as we get through the storm. So really the message is, if you don't have to travel, don't. And if you do travel, make sure you're prepared. our teams will be fully deployed across the state until we get everything back to near normal and open to traffic. But that could be into next week because the temperatures are not going to get much above freezing and there isn't going to be any sunshine until middle of the week next week. So we're prepared and we're working with our team. Our rhythm is always to work with our partners at the Highway Patrol and at SEMA and with the rest of the folks that are involved in this. So I wanted to turn it over to our partners at the Highway Patrol to tell you a little bit about what they're going to be doing over the next coming days. So it's my pleasure to introduce Captain White to talk about what the Highway Patrol is going to be doing. Captain.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Captain Scott White of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Thank you very much for everybody being here and online. That shows that you are taking it serious as we are. But I do want to start out with something very important, and that is that we've seen this before. The people of Missouri, the Patrol, MoDOT, and all of our partners, we've dealt with these situations before. But this is a serious matter. We're here today with everybody because Missouri is facing this dangerous winter weather and bitter cold in the next coming days, and we want the public to hear one consistent message from all of us, and that is that this weather has the potential to be life-threatening if people are not prepared. From the patrol's perspective, from what we do and our mission, our primary and main concern is travel and public safety. Based on the current forecasts that we're seeing, we expect hazardous road conditions across much of the state, and that can quickly turn a minor issue into a life-threatening emergency. So here's what we want everybody to understand. First, if you do not need to travel, do not travel. The most dangerous crashes that we see during the winter months are from people who underestimate the conditions and overestimate their abilities or the capability of their vehicle. We will be out across Missouri responding to incidents and working closely with MoDOT and local agencies, but we cannot be everywhere at once. What might normally be just a minor incident may quickly become life-threatening, and that's why we're stressing avoid travel unless it's absolutely necessary in an emergency. And then secondly, I also want to address expectations. So as always, for the last 95 years, since 1931, we will be visible and proactive during this weather event. Our goal is to prevent crashes, it's to prevent injuries and loss of life. We've adjusted staffing all across the state, and this is based on the anticipated conditions, and we will be able to respond effectively. However, during winter storms, help can take longer to reach people. If you absolutely must travel, what people do beforehand is really going to matter. That means checking your tires, your fuel levels, make sure your car is good to go. Make sure that you keep a winter survival kit in the car with blankets, water, food, and a phone charger. That's very important. That's probably one of the best tools that people can have out there, because nobody believes that they're going to be the one that will end up in a ditch or be the driver that ends up in a crash. But what they forget about is being stuck in a traffic backup for 6 hours or dealing with a road closure that doesn't have any good detours. And they're low on gas, they have no water, and a dead cell phone. So in bitter cold and these winter conditions, preparation definitely matters. And then let me leave you with this final message from the patrol. No appointment, no errand, and no activity is worth risking your life or risking the lives of others or any of us. The safest decision for everybody right now is to prepare, and if you don't need to be on the road, stay put until this event is over. I think I speak for everybody up here and the MoDOT crews and emergency services, everybody out there, that we'll be out there working long hours and in difficult conditions, and we ask the public that they do their part by making smart decisions and exercising patience until this event is over. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. And then the last person in our group here that works together on this year in and year out is our friends over at the State Emergency Management Agency. So their director, Jim Remillard, is here and would like to share something with you. Jim, thanks.
Thank you. I'm Jim Remillard. I'm the director for State Emergency Management. Our State Emergency Operations Center will be operational Friday evening through the end of the threat to Missourians. we will staff our SEOC with emergency support function personnel from various agencies in state government so that we can assist local communities should they need assistance from the state of Missouri. And as everyone up here has asked, please stay home. If you don't have to travel, don't travel. The time to prepare is now, today, and tomorrow. And please be home or try to be home by tomorrow evening. Don't forget your pets and your neighbors. Check on them, check on the elderly. This bitter cold is going to be extremely dangerous. And as Melissa mentioned, please remember the snow is going to stop and start several times. So don't think just because it stops snowing on Saturday that it's not going to snow again while you're out. So with that, everyone be safe, and we appreciate the support of Missourians.
Thank you, Jim. I think as you can see, we've got a statewide mobilized team of folks that are going to be working on this until we're out on the other end. One of the things that I just want to reiterate is this is a partnership not amongst only us, but a partnership with the public. If the public will do those things that we're asking, we'll get through this with the least inconvenience possible and have everybody safe. The other thing that I think is important is the partnership with you, the media. I want to thank the media for attending today, because your part in this is getting the information to people about what's going on and when they can travel. So one of the things that is most important for you to be able to see is what are the road conditions, and MoDOT's traveler map is the best information on up-to-date information on road conditions across the state. Our team keeps that up to date hour by hour, and as conditions change, that gets updated. So as we get into that part where Jim talked about that it's going to stop snowing and then start again, watch that map before you make that decision to travel, and that'll give you a great idea about what conditions are statewide. Because you may be in some place in North Missouri that's completely clear and you're headed south. You're really going to want to know what that looks like before you get there. So I would urge you to take advantage of that. Our team will be updating social media feeds and information as conditions change, so stay tuned to that. And just wanted to thank all the partnership here with the state team and with our team and with you all for attending. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
This is the first big snow of the season, but last month there was a snow event that had some issues in the St. Louis area. Did you learn any lessons from that, and what are you applying to this storm?
Yeah, the snow events early on, of course, it was the first storm for both for us and for motorists, and so there were some rough patches. One of the things is that we didn't get proactive enough in our communication to say, hey, it might look like a small storm, but it's going to have impacts. And really, the timing and intensity of the forecast was pretty far off, and so people went about their business without really thinking about it. And then when it hit, everybody flooded onto the roads at once and kind of caused some issues. So one of the things we're doing is today, proactive early communication with the public to make sure that they know what they're facing coming up. So that's the biggest lesson we learned.
Are you all communicating with agencies from surrounding states like Kansas and Illinois?
We are. So one of our concerns is this storm is going to be probably bad for us in the south, but it's going to be worse for our neighbors to the south. So we're in constant communication with all of our neighboring states, and whatever they're doing, they're talking to us, and we're talking to them.
I know MoDOT has been trying to get up staffing in the past couple of years. Do you feel like you're adequately staffed for this storm?
We're using everybody we have. Staffing is better than it was a few years ago. We're still not where we want to be, but all of the work we've been doing has made that a better situation. So we are putting every person that we have available in a truck this weekend. 12-hour shifts until we're done.
With not being able to use as many chemicals in the bitter cold, how are you making sure that plows will be sufficient to get all of this snow taken care of?
Well, I think the strategy changes with condition and weather and what's going on, but certainly this storm is going to be a plow storm. We're going to plow, and then get things as good as we can get it, and that's how this one's going to go.
And do you have an idea of when it will be evident how much the northern parts of the state are going to be impacted by this event?
Maybe I'll let our national weather partners tell us that. I think we're waiting for that.
I know everyone's very anxious to have snowfall amounts, especially with a storm of this magnitude. We gain information every single time we get new forecast data through our models. We are constantly updating that forecast, so we expect that we will have a better idea tonight and tomorrow with how much snow we're going to get in these areas. But there may still be lingering uncertainty as we head into the storm, which is why it's so important for folks to listen to the safety messaging from the folks behind me and really heed those warnings.
Question for MoDOT. I think I heard yesterday from our region in St. Louis that MoDOT was putting de-icer down. IDOT has decided not to put de-icer down because they worry about it creating a freezing issue. Can you address MoDOT's strategy versus the IDOT no de-icing strategy?
Yeah, I'm going to ask Becky Almaroth. She's our Chief Safety and Operations Officer that's on the ground with operations. She can answer that better than I.
Sure.
I appreciate that. We, even as late as last night, had most of our leadership across the state on phone calls, kind of coming up with that game plan for the entire state. We also do contact IDOT. What's your strategy? St. Louis County, what are you doing? To have kind of a unified response. One of the other things that we really look at with these cold temperatures, yes, in most of the state, and with blowing snow and flat surfaces, treatment's absolutely a waste of money. It's not going to do anything with the cold temperatures. In some of our metro areas, you have a little bit of a different situation. We're really listening to some of our supervisors and superintendents that have 30 and 40 years experience. I've seen this. Here's my problem area. It might be a low spot. Our arterials, where we have signalized intersections, are where those professionals in the field are really kind of concerned. When you have traffic that stops at a red light or at a signal and it sits there for a little bit and it has the tendency to actually melt a little bit of the snow and refreeze, that's where they felt most comfortable in those urban areas. Let's put a little bit of treatment down. It's absolutely not going to be a harm in those situations because that's those continuous operation routes where the plows are out, but it might buy a little bit of time in case we do have that situation where cars are melting it a little bit.
Sure. And then in St. Louis, there's been an issue with who's in charge of doing off and on ramps. Is that the city and county, or is that MoDOT?
It depends on the roadway. The majority, if it's off of an interstate, it's going to be a MoDOT on or off ramp. And we are doing, and listen to the public after that early December storm, we're going to add another layer of communication that we're piloting in the St. Louis region for this storm. There's a lot with that traveler information map where travelers will see, I was just on the interstate and it sure as heck looked clear, but that map shows that it's mostly covered, and we'll keep that mostly covered because of those ramps. We've actually delineated between the main line and those ramps for this storm, so you'll be able to see probably a different color. Yes, it's clear on that main line, but the ramp is still showing purple, meaning covered. So that's where you'll see a better line of communication to the public for those situations.
And then for plowing, is the strategy with this storm to do the typical rooster tail formation, or are you doing like a one truck pass through to try to have one lane?
You'll see interesting things with this dry, powdery snow. It's probably going to look, and you're going to lose visibility if you're behind a plow, so I recommend really, really backing off of that. One of the things, if we do receive significant amounts of snow in St. Louis, we're doing some additional training with that staff too of how to plow so that you're not creating these big obstacles or big bumps basically to come on to as you come on the on-ramp. Here's how you plow to get it away from that. Doing a little bit of education to the public too for your driveways, things like that. It's a totally different plowing situation when you're dealing with this dry, powdery snow and with significant depths.
Hi, I'm with KOMU. I'm wondering, with the chemicals kind of becoming ineffective past like that 10 degrees that you were mentioning earlier, what's the response after you guys have already done the chemicals to the snow?
I'd love to answer that. We've done so much research with this. You mentioned the 10, 15 degrees. It actually takes 10 times more salt at 10 degrees than it would at 30 degrees. So it becomes absolutely ineffective, but we do have chemicals that we can add to that salt. So magnesium, calcium, our beloved beet juice that makes it more effective at lower temperatures. What we'll be doing is putting those plows down, and then what we do is patrol and plow is our strategy, but we'll be looking for any problem areas. There will most likely be areas where snow builds up, might become packed down, whatever it is that we need to put an application on. Trucks are all be loaded, and it's going to be with that salt that we call it heated salt, so it'll work at those lower temperatures. I do want to warn the public, though. If you're behind a snowplow that's putting this salt down, or you see them putting chemicals down, when you put the calcium and magnesium at those very, very cold temperatures, it takes a while for it to work. So what normally would take about 5 minutes in these low temperatures might take half an hour.
So what would you consider, like, the conditions not to be driving out for in the snow once that's down? Would you say, like, once that's down, sorry, I'm talking in a circle here. Once that's down, are you saying that you should not be driving in that weather?
I would absolutely avoid it. Watch that traveler information map, especially if you see those purple colors on the map. Avoid that route if at all possible.
Captain Wright, do you have any tips for motorists if they have to travel, what they should prepare for if they do get stuck in the snow?
Well, if you notice, this is a little bit different than our usual safety messages. It's, you know, hey, stay home if you need to, but if you do have to travel. Right now, we're saying, please do not travel. We also understand that there will be people out there. We see it every winter. We had a bad event go across northern Missouri last year. We responded to well over 3,000 calls for service. So the best thing you can do right now, and I think the director really emphasized it at the very beginning, is this time right now, today, is the time to prepare. So whether that's getting stuff at home to make sure that you don't have to travel, you don't have to go anywhere, make arrangements for work, appointments, volleyball tournaments or anything like that, just we ask people to avoid that. Also, and I emphasized this earlier, is just make sure that you are prepared in your vehicle for even if you have to go a short distance, if you're stuck in a traffic backup. We see that a lot. I mean, we may have a 3 or 4 car crash, but we have hundreds and hundreds of vehicles in the backup because it takes a while. The access may be difficult, especially as bad as this weather's going to be and as high as the snow. It's just going to take a while. So make sure you have stuff in your car to make sure that with the water, food if necessary, blankets, make sure you're full of gas, and then have a phone charger too. Because again, if someone has an emergency or something, we want to make sure that they can call Star 55 or the local emergency services. So, okay.
What is staffing looking like for the Highway Patrol for this weather event, and how will the Highway Patrol be prioritizing calls during this event?
Sure. So right now, statewide, we're about 100 troopers short. So every trooper available is going to be working this weekend. We have around-the-clock coverage, especially in the southern part of the state. And we, like I said, this is something we have seen before. Most of our vehicles are either all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, which years ago when we drove the Crown Vics or the older vehicles, that wasn't the case. So we have a lot more mobility than we do now. We also have UTVs that we've had to employ in previous incidents to where we just drive down a backup and make sure that everybody's okay, just checking on someone. We have water if necessary. So that's something that we definitely have learned in the past, and we're definitely keeping an eye out for. So.
Time for one more question. Question for Melissa. You spoke earlier about the frequency that the snow might happen. With the information we have now, can you talk about how much snow might vary across different parts of the state?
Sure. Again, I know folks are really eager for those snow totals for this storm. Right now, I can't give you with any confidence a snowfall total. There's still too much uncertainty with the track of the system, how much precipitation is actually going to fall, and how much of that precipitation, how quickly we're going to be able to turn that into a big fluffy snow. But our confidence is really high that we're going to see those highest amounts of snowfall across southern Missouri. So south of I-70, we already have a winter storm warning in effect for the portions of that area. So that is where we have the highest confidence of seeing significant snowfall, and again, where we want to have folks really paying attention to those roadways. As we get further north and north of I-70, our confidence decreases in exactly how much snow and the impacts that we're going to see, but we will still see dangerous cold in that area. And so again, we want folks to pay attention to the weather and to listen to the safety messages that we're hearing here.
With your confidence level right now, what are the
Great question. So we are not expecting freezing rain with this system, which I am sure is a great relief to everyone in this room. We are really only expecting sleet across far, far southern Missouri, close to the Arkansas border and in the boot heel. That is only with the first round of snow. That is going to be mixing in with the snow before transitioning to all snow late in that first round. So that's Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening before we have that first break. But we're expecting snow everywhere else in the state of Missouri.
Thank you all. We do have a planning call in a few minutes that we have to get ready for, but we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, everybody.